y'all. Welcome back to What's On Tonight, a podcast with elaborate, quirky, and unpredictable conversations about TV, movies, and more. I'm Becky.
And I'm Mandy.
Y'all, we are super excited to have with us tonight the amazing Brian Tichnell, who plays Medic Amboy. Is it Amboy?
Amboy, that's
Amboy.
right.
Okay, all right. On the Pitt. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. We just had a 2-minute conversation before we started recording, and I already feel like we're very close friends. So,
Oh,
you fit right in around here, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. We appreciate that.
And there's reasons for that, Brian, and I'm going to get to them. Before I ask you the first question, I feel like I need to tell you that in doing our research today and looking into your background and what we could find out there about you on socials and articles and whatnot, I genuinely felt like you are now one of us, and here's why. First of all, Mr. Mutt Chops. We need to talk about him. I need you to know something.
Oh, something's happening, y'all. Something's happening. Something's happening.
It's happening.
Oh my God. Oh, y'all cannot see this, but he has
oh my gosh,
a little pug, and Mandy has her little pug.
2 pugs meeting together over Zoom on a podcast interview. This is too much.
Obviously, Mr. Mutt Chops is definitely a little bit more media trained than my diva over here.
He is a stage dog, yes. We're his stage parents, yeah.
Oh,
so mine is Wrigley. I call him Beans. I call him everything but Wrigley, basically.
Yeah.
Named after Wrigley Field. My husband is a massive Cubs fan. I have 3. One of them is absolutely insane. Not 3 pugs. I have 3 dogs.
Oh, you got
Wrigley, I refer to as my change of life baby because we got him right around the time that my 2 kids were getting to young adulthood. And so he was just like, he is my spoiled little prince of the world. But I also have 2 others who I adore. One of them is batshit crazy. So if the wind blows the wrong way outside, she's going to start losing her mind. So I may have to cut and let her out. We're going to keep our fingers crossed. Gotcha. But Wrigley, I don't even know. This is how obsessed I am. So I don't know if you can see my pug ears that I've got on.
Oh, yay!
Oh, my word. I didn't even notice those.
Yes. If you could look around my office here, you would see all of my pug art. And this, my son's girlfriend, look at that. She it's Wrigley. It's genuinely Wrigley. She got AI to create like a handsome gentleman version of Wrigley.
So distinguished.
I know. I love it. Is he your first pug?
He's my first pug. Yeah. First dog. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
First dog with my wife. Yeah. We, during the pandemic, we found him at Mickey Hargitay's, which is a kind of well-known plant store in Los Angeles. And we
went on, Mariska's dad?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, my God. Right. That's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, wait, there has to be a connection there.
Yes. And so it's Mickey Hargitay's. And my wife was like on this like buying plants kick.
We all were.
We went to Target and she said, can we go to Mickey Hargitay's to get some more plants? That meant I had to hang them from the ceilings and stuff. And I said, fine. I didn't want to, but I said, fine. And we stood in this really long, spaced out, 6 feet apart line because it was still we all had masks on still. And right in front of us was a little cage with with 2 little puppies. One was a pug and one was like a little fox. And we were like, oh my God, because me and my wife always talked about getting a pug, always. But we're both actors and we were living in a studio apartment. We're living out in 400 square feet. We couldn't do it, but we finally kind of upgraded and we saw this pug. And we're like, oh my God, can we pet it? And the girl in front of us who had the dog, she was like, oh yeah, you can hold him. I'm selling him. Oh. And I said, really? We held him and we just knew he was ours. So in a way, we kind of felt like we manifested him.
You did. Sure. That was fate.
If we hadn't gone to the plant store, he would have never changed our lives forever.
At any rate, just again, fell in love with a lot of I've got so many questions that I want to ask about your career because I just think that you and I have a lot in common as far as some of our interests. The first question I'm going to ask is the same one we like to ask almost all of our guests, and that's how did you end up getting cast on The Pitt?
Sure. Yeah. Luck, providence, fate, blessings from God, all of the above. I remember I got an audition for a character named Ryan, who I believe you guys should reach out to him. So it was a character, and I can't remember the exact context now, but it's in season 1, and it's the one whose daughter drowns in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
And the wife is like the performance from she's like so like grief stricken, and the husband who's there too. I auditioned for that role, and I felt really good about it. And it actually went to a really good friend of mine named Shane Hartline, who, hey, if you guys are looking for guests, he's great.
Absolutely.
Please.
He's hilarious. He's a great guy. And I had no idea that he booked that role, at the time. But I remember sending it in and feeling really good about it. But then didn't hear back. It happens all the time. That's pretty normal. So it was really exciting to see that the role went to somebody that like I knew. Then I got an audition a few weeks later, and I was so happy that they asked me back. And it's usually a good sign. It's like, oh, they probably liked you, but they liked like 4 of us, and they went with 1 out of the 4. And it was for just this medic role. And I just remember it was a simple audition. Like it was like 2 lines. And the direction from the casting was like, don't be too urgent. Like, this is just another day. Like, yes, people are hurt, people are like injured, but we don't need to raise the stakes, because the stakes are always high for people that work in like emergency services. So when we act like the stakes are high, that means there's something really horrible happening, like a kid dying or something like that. But regardless, I just remember being like, okay, so just act like I'm just at work, not, like something urgent's happening, medical urgency. And I sent it in. And the thing that I was going to say that I remember the most was just the little, and maybe you've heard this from other people, but the little note that Noah sent everyone from casting. And it was basically kind of a description of what his vision for this whole production would be. And it kind of had that vibe of like, we're not looking for divas. This is not going to be a cushy situation. This is an ensemble piece where everybody's expected to kind of be in, the world rather than kind of separate from it, which you can kind of feel on some sets. Like, I'm just here to do my thing and eat craft services and go home. And I don't remember the exact wording, but I just remember it was very impactful to me. And I remember thinking, oh, he wants me. I am into whatever vibe he's trying to create, because I love that kind of ensemble. Nobody is more important than the other person from top to bottom of the call sheet. And I remember that just really struck me, that he even took the time to write that as like kind of the lead actor / producer. And then they said I got it. And I remember Mutt Chops, my pug, when I got the call that I booked it, he had just had surgery on his mouth. He had a cone around his head, and he was taking a dump in the street. I remember very distinctly.
As they do.
And I remember being very happy that I booked this new role. Little did I know it was going to be the biggest show on television. But yeah, that's the story.
That's really cool.
I love that you brought up that note from Noah. We have heard that from other people, but it made me think of one of the quotes that found the Shout Out LA interview that you did online. And one of the lines that you had in there that let me know that you and I were going to be bros is that you said, I'm a fan of everyone's gifts and genuinely love getting to the heart of other actors' talents and helping them deepen their work. That is very much how we feel about this project of ours, what's on tonight, like this podcast. We do it for the love of the craft and just a genuine appreciation for everything that everyone does. And it's been such a real gift having these interviews with, we want to talk to anyone in the industry involved with any of it, because we love it all. I mean, we're so impressed with everybody. I love hearing everybody's stories as working actors of what they're doing outside of auditioning, the fact that you're teaching. We just recently covered Welcome to Derry. That was what we were doing while we were waiting for the pit to start. And one of our last interviews was with this awesome actress named Kimberly Norris Guerrero, who played Rose on the show, who is also currently teaching. And so those are the kind of stories that I wanted to act when I was a kid, when that's what I thought I wanted to be on stage. And so we'll get into it later, but there were so many things that I read that you said about your love of theater, because it's hard. I don't know how hard. It's why I gave up. I realized pretty quickly that I wanted to be a parent. at that point, you've really got to commit to one or the other.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to wait until I was later to have children. And I knew I didn't have the stamina to do what you do to get the roles that you do. And just, we love it. We appreciate it. We appreciate you taking your time talking to us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This is really a treat.
Good.
Well, we were stoked to see you appear in last night's episode.
Yeah.
I was like, hey!
Yeah.
We love it when we get to interview someone and then we see them on the show and we're like, I know them.
We're best friends now.
Yeah.
Yes. It was, I was very happy to get the call for season 2 and knowing that was going to be in the first episode. And, as you saw, I came on at the very end. So you'll see me again at the top of the next episode. I think, unless they edited me out.
We need to get you a first name.
Oh, it's Rick.
Rick. Okay.
Rick. What? Rick Amboy.
Wait, I'm going to look that up. I'm pretty sure it's never been said on the show, but it has been written in the script.
It's canon now.
Yeah, it's canon now. That happened to me once. I was on Silicon Valley, and we were just the programmers. And I remember we had name tags though, and my name tag said Jason on it. And I was like, oh, my character's name is Jason. But in the script, they would just either call us programmers or they would call us by our real names, Brian and Allie. But regardless, I went on IMDb because it just said programmer. And I was like, well, I'm going to put a real name on IMDb because that, for some reason, us actors, we all think it's better than like a descriptive, like waiter or, bus driver. It's better to have a name, right? So I was like, well, my name's Jason. Anyway. And then in season 3 or 4, they named me Eric because no one ever spoke the word Jason. It was just on my name tag that no one could see. So now it says on IMDb I'm Jason, but I'm not. I'm Eric.
I kind of love that. I think it's just like continuity lore. I think that's pretty funny. It's
continuity lore. I think I changed my name to Eric because I just thought Eric was more me. My character changed his name to Eric. He just was trying to do something new with his life.
It works. That totally works. I was going to ask you a question about the Pitt, but since you brought up Silicon Valley, Mandy, if you're okay, I'm going to go ahead and dive into question 3, and then we can come back to question 2.
Keep me on track. Sorry if I divert us.
No, you're fine, man.
Okay, cool.
That's what we do.
This is
Stay
more
loose.
of the reason why you were meant to be here with us, because if we could get through a sentence without going to 47 different places, our podcast might not be 40 hours long. But so when we were digging through your career history, you've been in a lot of our favorite shows, and you did have 14 episodes on Silicon Valley, like you were saying, playing Jason or Eric, however you want to look at it. Yeah. So how do you switch gears from being in a sitcom role and then switch to a more drama-esque show like The Pitt, 911? I know you were on Castle and Station 19. How do you make that, like, separate that in your brain to go from one to the other?
Sure. I don't know if I do too much. It's not like it's I got a dramatic switch and a comedic switch. It's kind of more of like a large color spectrum. And once you kind of understand the vibe of a show, because some like dramas are pretty comedic and some comedies are pretty dramatic. We've all seen The Bear and we've all seen Succession.
Bear's not a comedy.
Thank you. I was just wanting to say that. I'm like, there's the Bear will never be a comedy to me, but
Sure, but you know what I mean. There are plenty of comedies that have so much like depth and pace.
The Orville is what I actually thought about your role on the Orville.
Oh, sure, yeah, very dramatic. Yeah, the Orville is surprisingly dramatic.
Strangely,
and so for me, it's just kind of like you kind of just get a sense for what the particular vibe of the show is. And you kind of express the beat of the scene or whatever. I don't use these terms, kind of just like retroactively trying to analyze what I do. But you just kind of match how the storytelling that you're doing as an actor, you try to match that tone of that particular show. Because like I would say, Station 19, I play a douchebag, and on Silicon Valley, I play a lot of douchebags, by the way. It's my favorite voice. It's just, Medic Amboy is going to end up being a douchebag at some point, I'm sure. I just gravitate towards that. But I would say, they're different tonally, they're different shows, Silicon Valley and Station 19, but they're basically the same guy, and so I just kind of bring that meal to the potluck. And I hope that it kind of fits in the puzzle of the tone and world that they're creating.
Yeah, more character driven than like show. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
One of the things that, speaking of Kimberly Guerrero, again, one of the questions, one of the ways that because she also likes to go back and forth between drama and comedy quite a bit. And we asked her a similar question, and her answer was something to the extent of, I always start from a place of very serious business. That her assumption from the beginning is that this is a person, the real actualized person. That person takes themselves seriously, and that she then builds from that.
Yeah.
There is no real comedy versus drama. It's just, as you kind of explained, it's character driven. It's like what would make the most sense for this character. And then you just kind of find the humor in that.
And then if you're doing a comedy, you have a little leeway to do something silly every now and then.
Right.
It's like, we have no place on the Pit for me to do something silly.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. They've had their moments. The Rats.
They have their moments.
Myrna, I can't believe I got your name wrong. I'm so sorry, Jeanette. Jeanette O'Connor has become one of our besties. We absolutely love that woman. God.
She's great. Well, I believe she hosts like this. She hosts this class. I think not necessarily class, but like workshops that meet with like directors and things like that. And my wife has done those like several times. Like, she found out about her through a friend of a friend, and so she's done probably like 3 of them. Just the like really great like actor workouts / meet some influential people. And it was so awesome then to see her, who she had worked with on the Pit as well. Like, I weirdly know a lot of people on the Pit. It's very exciting. Like, before the show started.
It's kind of a smallish community, isn't it? Like, of working actors. That's another one of the things that we laughed about when we were interviewing Jeanette, was geeking out because one of my other great loves is Law and Order SVU, and also just Ice-T as a rapper. She has a background in casting, and I noticed that she had worked with and cast Ice-T in 2 different things, and she's like, I didn't even remember. Like, that doesn't even... Because I was trying to draw a parallel of, like, did you guys develop a relationship? She's like, you have to remind me who that man is. I don't
even know if I met him.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yes, it all starts to run together just a little bit. Yeah.
Becky, which one do you want me to move to? Do you want me to, because you went with question 3, do you want me to go back to question 2 or move on to question 4?
Question 2, and then I'll go on to 4.
Okay.
I threw us off, Brian. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I went to Silicon Valley too early. I did. I should have stayed on task.
That's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Quite honestly, between the two of us, you had no hope of ever staying on task. It's never happened in one podcast. But we did talk a little bit about, you getting cast on the show, but do you want to talk a little bit more about what your experience was working on the show as a whole? You mentioned that you already know quite a bit of the cast. So was it how is I don't know, man. I know we don't have all the time in the world, but I'm really interested in how is this show run differently than maybe some of your other experiences? Because we've heard a lot from folks about what you talked about, just like this, there are no divas, that this is not one of those where they're just going to piece everything together, that it's trying to have an organic experience there.
And it's like a choreographed dance almost.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. That's what, rehearsal is. It's the choreography of all the medical action and kind of also the beats of noticing. And what I mean by that is it's the actual action that we're all doing. We have to do, A through Z of different things while we're saying our lines, but also while we're saying our lines, we have to kind of react to the information, the medical jargon that's being given to us in a way that tells the story oh, this is good, or these medical numbers that I just said, they're bad.
Right.
You should go there. And everybody in the room knows they're bad. And we have just these amazing doctors on set who are there watching us and giving us insight, and are always great for me to say, hey, in this moment, this is just another day. In this moment, if I've seen, usually EMTs will be very, hectically trying to get the person in as fast as possible. I remember one of the doctors said, one of the things is we don't like sick kids. We don't like sick kids. We don't like sick kids. And I remember being oh, right. So my kind of this is just another day at the office, that goes out the window in this situation. But so, back on what it's like. We get together, we basically get the choreography of all the medical action and how to use the gurneys and how to unhook the gurneys and how to pick up the actor. I'm literally picking up an actor with other people, and transferring him from the gurney to the hospital bed. And we work all that out, and we do it pretty quick. We do it like real quick. And I think that's one of the things that feels very different. At least, let me back up a bit. When I first day there, I remember thinking, oh, I better catch up. I better be on my toes, because the information was coming quick and nobody was holding my hand. On other situations, people, and I don't want to act like they aren't thorough. And, every bit of information that I needed was given to me by the crew. I mean, the props department is incredible. Cody, he's the one who kind of runs everything in terms of like, this is how this medical machine works, and this is how this medical machine works. He's just like, the amount of stuff he has to know as a props, like, I don't know if he's the prop master, but as a props guy, boggles my mind. But I just remember being like, they're going to show me, and then we're going to do it, and we're expected to do it. And the person who's leading that charge of like, let's get through it, is Noah. Because Noah is like, yep, you got it, let's do it. Boom. And he's not telling me, but he's imbuing that energy, know? And I just remember being like, okay, I better be on my toes. So the first time I had to like pull the gurney out, which with a real human in it, it had a real kid in it. And the actor, and I've got to figure out how to drop the wheels. And I had watched some YouTube videos to prepare, but that doesn't really quite, it gave me a mental visual. But I just remember being like, I got to get all this right. I got to get all this right as fast as possible, which is, for an actor, is kind of nice, because then you're not thinking about your acting. You're thinking about the stuff you're doing. And also because you want to do it right, because you don't want to drop it, because there's a real human in there. So to answer your question, being on that set, I just remember being like, no one is going to be delicate with me as an actor. I'm there to do my job. And I know that if I take the action seriously and not worry about my coverage or where the camera is, or am I going to say my line the way I want to say it? If I just focus on getting all the action done as perfectly as possible, as if this is something that I've done every day, that I will feel extremely successful. And I did it. And I don't know if I should even tell you this compliment, because maybe it's an unauthorized compliment, but Cody, the props guy, last season said, I remember he went up to me and said, that's the best I've ever seen someone do the gurney. And I still hold on to that compliment from Cody and props to this day, because that was like what I wanted to do. I wanted to show, this is an amazing production that they've got going on, and I want to be as helpful and as useful to the process as possible. So the short answer though is like, no kid gloves, no training wheels. Let's go.
I love that.
You should be really proud of that, because it makes me sweat trying to, even in my limited experience with acting, it's very obvious how difficult it would be for the average person. We've had a surprising number of guests who were on the show that also had some kind of medical background.
Yeah.
My parents were actually EMTs. They used to run a emergency system out of our house when I was a kid. I used to go to the school in ambulances and hearses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
In a what, Mandy?
I almost said nurse, yes, but in a hearse.
In a hearse,
yeah. I did. I used to go to school
No. What was it you called the rig?
Oh, an ambulance. She's never going to stop about this.
Ambulance?
I'm sorry that none of you can say it correctly, but it is an ambulance. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't help myself.
I love that.
This was a big part of our conversations in season.
It was a big shock for her
Pitt.
to find out that I say ambulance and she doesn't. And apparently no one else does, but I don't care. That's the right way to say it.
And you know what? And your parents were you drove them. So you're an authority on it.
I know. That's right.
Maybe we're wrong, Becky. Maybe we've been wrong this whole time.
You and everyone else on this planet, including my mother. But at any rate, I am very impressed by that. It makes me sweat to even think about having to learn. I was watching last night and I was thinking about how difficult it would be. And we have heard that it is a very fast-paced set. How you would learn to work around all of those props and all of that medical stuff going on, and try to remember your lines and to emote and all of that. It's impressive. That was a very well-earned compliment.
Oh, thank you.
I agree. And that's part of, I think, what makes this show so special is the focus on attention to detail, because I would not have thought that someone, when you're just hearing you talk about the training and the direction that they gave you on handling a gurney, just makes me love this show even more, because that's not something I would have thought would have been a focus. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, you're here, roll the patient and go here. But to make sure that the tiniest minute details are so accurate makes me just, it just sets this show apart. And that's really cool. And you are one heck of a gurneyman.
Thank you. Yes, I like to think that is why they asked me back. It's like, well, he can pull a gurney out of a
It was the gurney. It was your
gurney.
Your exquisite gurney work.
I am one of those people on set who does not have the medical background. Like you said, there are several people there. They're actors / nurses, or they used to be nurses and they pivoted to acting, or they just were in the medical field and they somehow got brought into the process. Mm-hmm. I am not one of those, so I kind of am a little blind. So I rely upon the kindness of strangers. Yeah.
Well, you're a Southern boy who had to go to LA and make it as an actor and as a working actor at that. And I think that is all the grit that you need, quite honestly, because that's one of the toughest roads to hoe, I imagine.
Oh, we're going to switch gears from the Pit. I noticed that you wrote and produced a TV movie called Tell Us Why You're Here.
Yes.
Would you please tell us more about that project and kind of what inspired you to take that on, and what was it like being in that role instead of like being on the stage or in front of the camera?
So, Tell Us Why You're Here. We're still in production of it in terms of... we're kind of in the process of now trying to pitch it, and we have been for some time now. It's something that me and my writing partner, her name's Denise Ryland, we met in a acting class over Zoom during the pandemic, or we had met right before the pandemic, in person. But we met, and while the lockdown was going on, we were just doing all sorts of different stuff over Zoom with my community of like actors and the studio that I work with. And we started writing a lot. And we started writing a lot of scenes, blah, blah, blah. And Denise called me one day and said, hey, do you want to write stuff? And this we don't have anything else to do. We're all just getting unemployment while we're waiting to go back to work. And so I said, sure. And we started writing, and soon enough, we had come up with 6 episodes of these kind of very specific, quirky characters who are all in an anger management group together. And we were really, the more we wrote, the more I was like, I kind of am loving this. This is starting to take a shape. Then we did a reading over Zoom. And a guy named Joe Rasulo, who's worked a lot in, he's done a lot in terms of developing television series and stuff. He let us know hey, you guys should really think about trying to get this produced, because this was just something we were doing for fun to pass the time. And so we got to work on, raising funds and, creating a show Bible, which we have, and all these other things. And we got the money and we had the connections. And I had some actor friends who I think are really amazing, not only amazing, but they have a really great career. And I asked a lot of them to be a part of the production. And so Linda Park, who was, she was on Star Trek when she was younger, and then she was on Bosch for 60 episodes or something. She has an amazing career. She's a good friend of mine and my wife's. And James Urbaniak, who is just, if you don't know who he is, you do know who he is. You just don't know his name. But he is one of the greatest character actors in Hollywood. And Frankie Rodriguez Jr., who we found over Actors Access. That's a way to get people to audition for you. He's on Chad Powers. Is that what it's called? Chad Powers. Yeah, he's crushing it. But he had already been on a Disney show, I think High School, the Musical, the series, I think on Disney.
I think that was High School Musical. Yep.
Yeah. And so we found him and so we were able to get these amazing actors because it was so we wrote over the pandemic. Fast forward a couple of years, then the strike happens, and we didn't plan that, but at all. We were like, oh, the strike's happening. Nobody's working right now. Maybe people would be interested in doing this work with us. So we asked them. Some of them were my friends, the people that I knew, and we put it together. And we put together a pilot presentation, 30-minute, basically like this is what the show would be like, and then. In parentheses, imagine it with a little bit of a bigger budget, if you will, please. But, it's mostly just the acting scenes. And we put that together. It went amazing. It was an incredible experience. And we have since kind of retooled the edit after getting some feedback. We were able to take it to a film festival in Cuernavaca, Mexico. Went very well, and we're going to start trying to roll it out this year in terms of kind of promoting it, maybe trying to get some interest of someone who might be interested in purchasing the show, yada, 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 Hollywood stuff, right? But being a writer, I didn't know if I could do it or not, and it was a real pleasure finding my voice as a writer, specifically comedic writer with Denise, and then producing it, being on set and not being an actor at all, but rather like getting my friends together and just kind of trying to make sure everything goes well and everybody's happy. And like, that's a big part of it, trying to make sure everybody's happy. It was a big learning experience for me, and a very positive one too. So yeah, that's what it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
watch
wait
it right
for
now.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great show.
I'll send it to you. It's not for public consumption, but I'll send it to you.
No way.
I'll send it to you. I mean,
I was just sitting here thinking I'd watch that show all day long. That sounds like a great premise.
I would love to hear your. Yeah.
When it comes out, you should come back on.
Oh, it's a date.
Yes.
Becky, it's a date. Now I've got to get it.
That's right.
Man, we are just broadening people's horizons. Look at us. Look at us.
So we've covered that, because my next question was getting into, along with acting and writing, that you're doing the producing and the performing and a director. But this question is actually the one that I am the most excited to talk to you about, because I read that you love Shakespeare, that is your homeboy. I never, again, one of the other things that put me off is that I don't have the stomach for fame. I don't want, nothing, it was not, that's such an actor thing to say. Like it was just going to be beating on my door.
I know what you mean. Yeah. It's kind of scary. Yeah.
I went on Jeopardy again. Becky, please don't put that, because I don't like talking about it. But I went on Jeopardy.
You need to stop bringing this up, because I always want to leave it in. She was on Jeopardy and she hates it.
It just sounds very braggy.
I love Jeopardy. Which episode? Come on, you don't have to leave it in, but let me see it. Which one?
I can't. It was somewhere 2021 or 20. It was right after the pandemic was winding down. So 21 or 22 is when I filmed it, and it came out on like Labor Day. Which one's in May? Memorial Day that's in May. It was Memorial Day.
Yes.
Was it still Trebek, or had he passed?
He had passed. The reason I went on was because it was a thing with my grandmother. We watched it our whole lives. We bonded together, me and my mama, over Jeopardy, and I had always promised her that I would make it on. So,
and she has talked about it. I've known Mandy for over 20 years, and she has talked about it.
Oh yeah.
Ever since we became friends. So it was hardcore.
Yeah. So I got the call back for the second, because I actually made the second interview once before. And then this last time they got the second interview, and it was all lined up. And then Alex Trebek died that week that I was supposed to have my second.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit, and it was a little bit of a longer process. But once I finally got there and I got up on stage, and I hated I can talk to anybody. I can talk to anybody on this planet. I don't really get a lot of stage fright about just having a one-on-one conversation. But I found out I do not enjoy having a camera in my face, having to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He did great.
Well, I appreciate it. But anyway, all that to say, I do love the stage. I love getting lost in a character, pretending and playing make-believe. Mm-hmm. And I love Shakespeare. Yeah. So my question for you, first I want to know, growing up in the South, man, how did you, as a small-time Southern boy, exactly where in Mississippi are you from? And when did you know that you liked theater?
Good question. Okay, so I was born in a teeny town called Philadelphia, but not the one you're thinking of.
Oh, it is the one I'm thinking of. And I'm going to tell you something else. Again, sorry to keep interrupting. My other love is genealogy. Immediately after this, if your family has roots there, my family is from Pace, which is not very far away from Philadelphia. You probably don't know it. It almost does. It makes Philadelphia look like Chicago. It's almost not there. I went with my mom back in the early 2000s, and there is a laundromat left in like a building that was built in the 30s. And there is a literal bank vault sitting under a tree in what used to be the town square because the bank burned down in the 30s and no one has had the money or the inclination, I guess, to remove it. It's just sitting there.
Is there anything in it?
Like,
no, that's what I asked. How do you know? It was open. If I remember, it was open.
That's amazing. There's
Is
just
that not like some
bank?
Coen Brothers stuff?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Where was it again that you said you were?
Called Pace, Mississippi.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
PAC, like the hot sauce that isn't made in New York City.
New York City.
New York City.
If your family has roots there, I am going to figure out how we're related as soon as we get off.
Yes.
But at any rate, go ahead with you're from Philadelphia.
That's incredible. I bet we do. I bet we're totally connected on Ancestry.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I was born. That's where she grew up. So yes, there's something there.
Your wife is there too?
No. My wife is from Fresno, California.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry. I got confused for a second.
Yeah. And so then I ended up moving to another small town in Mississippi called Petal, like the flower, not the bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically where I grew up. It was actually had a really lovely public school system, which, sounds oxymoronic, but it really was. They had a lot of arts, like show choir and theater and a lot of opportunities to travel, in competitions and stuff like that.
That is unusual.
Yeah, and it was I do believe it's where I was supposed to end up based on kind of what my inclinations were. But my first time that I knew I liked the stage, my parents put me in. Well, it kind of started in like a Christmas, the Christmas musical, the pageant or whatever. What do you call the Christmas pageant? Yeah, that's what. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like the second shepherd. And I remember the second shepherd had a lot of lines, like the joke, and I was like 6 or 7 years old. And my mom noticed I had a talent for memorizing. And I have a pretty good memory. And then they put me in another play when I was like 8 or 9, just for something to do, because I wasn't good at sports and I was really loud. So they're like, the theater. And man, I took to it and I never stopped. Like community theater every summer. Then when I got to high school, it was all about show choir and plays and speech and debate competitions and anything kind of performance based. It was just my love. So I knew pretty early on, I didn't know if I wanted to be an actor, but I knew that that's like my thing. That's like
your passion.
That's my passion. Right. It's my high school identity too. You kind of start to craft that. And then I ended up going to Ole Miss.
Sorry about last night.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so sports illiterate.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Sorry to my father.
You and me both, Holmes.
My father is probably upset. They lost.
Yeah, it was a really good back and forth. There were, I think, 4 touchdowns scored in the second half of the game. It was just so back and forth. It's just their defense could not handle Miami's offense, and it just unfortunately didn't go their way. But once Lane Kiffin left, and I know this, if you're not, tell your dad that once Lane Kiffin left, I was very happy to pull for Ole Miss last night.
I see. Gotcha. Yeah. And I knew Lane, that the coach he left weirdly. I know. So
that's his MO.
Yeah. He did the same. As Tennesseans, I grew up a big UT Volunteer fan, and he did the exact same thing to us. And I'm not a fan, but I digress.
It seems to be a pattern. Sorry, Dad. Sorry they lost.
I'm sorry too, Brian's dad.
So did you ever get to play a Shakespearean role? I couldn't find anything about it. So have you been able to? And if so, what was your favorite role?
When I got to Ole Miss, that's kind of where I learned Shakespeare. And I remember I really kind of fell in love with Shakespeare, honestly, because of Lord of the Rings. Because Lord of the Rings kind of came out when I was in high school, and I was so obsessed with Ian McKellen's performance as Gandalf. I was so obsessed. I was the greatest performance. So that easily lent into, I started to get really, really interested in Shakespeare. And I learned from really great teachers named Joe Turner Cantu at Ole Miss. And there was a thing called the Oxford Shakespeare Festival. And every summer,
I've wanted to go my whole life.
in little Oxford, Mississippi, you know, we did a Shakespeare festival, and I got to do 2 plays a year. So I got to play Mercutio and Romeo and Juliet. I got to be in Lysander, Midsummer Night's Dream. I was in As You Like It. I was in Much Ado About Nothing. I was in like a handful of Merchant of Venice. And then after that, I went to Cal Arts to go to grad school. That's where I ended up playing Henry V in Henry V. And we can come back to this, but that's where I met my wife.
No.
And then the Oxford Shakespeare Festival, which I'd done all these plays, they asked me to come back and play Hamlet. And I got to play Hamlet in Oxford, Mississippi on the big stage.
Okay, so 2 questions.
Before you do that, I don't want to brag, but
I was bringing it up. It was coming up.
do you want me to wait?
No, we'll just tell him Becky and I have had a problem. We have been besties for a very, very long time. And today your interview has created a rift in our lives.
Yep.
Oh, no.
One of my dreams was always to play Kate in Taming of the Shrew.
Yeah.
Becky tells me out of nowhere today.
This is what I said. We were discussing, she was talking about how she wants to dive into your love of Shakespeare. And I was like, wait, Taming of the Shrew, that's Shakespeare, right? And she said, yeah. She said, yes. And I was like, oh, I played the shrew in our 8th grade production of the Taming of the Shrew. And you would have thought I walked over and like kicked
didn't even know her
little
name.
pug Wrigley. And she's like,
Didn't
you
even know
played
her name.
whatever her name is. I'm like, is she the shrew? And she was like, yes. I was like, okay, then yes, I did.
If you had said to Tanya, we may have never spoken again. If you had just been like, ugh, I was like, whatever that fairy chick's name is, we would have never spoken again. But so my next question, and I'll just give you these in a twofer, so you can finish and I won't keep cutting you off. One, I want to know what if you haven't played already, what your dream role would be in Shakespeare. And 2, I wanted to know, are you familiar with the work of Ben and David Crystal, who are a father and son? The son, I believe, is Ben, and the father is David. David is a linguist, and Ben is an actor. And they work with the National Theatre in London, but also with the Globe, I think predominantly with the Globe, working on original pronunciation. David, the linguist, has done phenomenal work trying to parse out exactly how Shakespeare would have been pronounced in the original Elizabethan English. If you're not familiar with it, Google it when we get off. You're gonna go down a rabbit hole. I don't know what or if any of it you're going to use in your life, but I guarantee, as a Shakespeare nerd, you're going to be fascinated by it, and as a Southerner, because it is fascinating how similar the original pronunciation is to Southern English, especially Appalachian English.
And exactly. Like I've heard the saying that an Appalachian kind of American is probably the closest to that Elizabethan, which to me, like, there's a lot of effort that's taught at training actors to do Shakespeare with a very specific kind of standard American speech, which is this kind of like the correct way to say words as an American stage actor. And I've learned it, and I took it seriously, but it's one of those things that now that I've learned it, all I want to do is break the rules, because how well can you do a Frasier impression?
You got me with that one.
And to me, there's something about that kind of feels a little, I call it museum theater, and I've been guilty of being in it. You know what I mean? So I'm not even going to act like I'm not. I haven't been, I've been a part of the problem, but I also hope to be the solution.
I think I have a firm grasp on what you mean by that, because it can become, if that is the standard, and if that is the only option when you're looking at Shakespeare, then I can't imagine how stifling it is. But I think that's the beauty of Shakespeare. And when you love it, is that there are so many different ways that it can be played, interpreted. Every single role can be played 50 different ways. Every single play, depending on how you cast it, how you, where you set it. I'm not a huge fan of the avant-garde, let's put it all in a Walmart. And I appreciate when anyone appreciates it. So I think that the original pronunciation is incredible and fascinating because of what it can teach us about Shakespeare's writing. But I could also see why that's not necessarily the only way that I would hate to see a world where you have to do Shakespeare in the original pronunciation, or you have to use the plummy Fraser.
Yeah. What I find interesting what you're saying, though, is that our conception of how Shakespeare should sound is actually could be further away from what our our perception is.
I could spend hours talking to you about this.
I know,
so we
me
will
too.
move.
I was like, no, we're about to go down a rabbit hole. We ain't got time, and I'm not even mentally prepared.
But to sum up, what would be your dream role if you have not already played that?
The shrew?
The shrew. I would want to be the shrew. So one of them would probably Mark Antony in either Julius Caesar or Antony and Cleopatra. That's a role that I just really want to dig into. I would love to. And like Coriolanus kind of interests me a bit. I don't know if I would go, but I'm interested in that play. I'll say that. And I loved the movie. I don't know if you saw the movie.
Yeah.
Incredible. And Brian Cox is in it. So good.
Yeah. He can do anything.
Yeah, he can do anything. But yeah, Mark, in terms of Shakespeare, that's what I said my dream role. At least that's the one that's on my horizon. I would like to do.
So in our deep dive, you are an acting instructor at Michael Lasking's studio and a part-time professor at LA Mission Community College. So what do you hope to instill in those that you teach and those that you coach? What do you want their experiences to be, and how do you help them get there?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. My main goal is to get that person or that actor to say their lines from the heart. There's a lot of technique that can happen in acting. There's a lot of trying to please the audience that can happen. There's a lot of am I doing it the right way? Am I doing it the correct way? Am I becoming this character correctly? And to me, my personal philosophy is that as open and vulnerable and as much of yourself that you can funnel through the prism of your character, that's the target that you're trying to hit. And so really my work typically with actors is really just about being vulnerable, being as honest and open as possible in the room right now. And when you say it, mean it. That's easier said than done, is can you say it and mean it? And that's kind of verbiage for what I do, but I go through a lot of exercises. But my main thing is can I get to the core of you? Because you, Becky, are full of multitudes. And so are you, Mandy. And
you're the shrew, Becky. You're the shrew.
I was just going to say, if I could find that tape, I'm going to send it to you and have you critique me.
I can't wait. But it's so important to infuse the complexities of your own humanity into whatever role you are playing. I don't subscribe to the idea that I am becoming a completely different person. It is you are the vessel that Hamlet is funneling through. And there's a marriage in there. And it is necessary for you to be as open and vulnerable as possible. That's my big interest. What is this character when you play it?
That's cool.
As opposed to are you good enough to play this character? It's a flip-flop. Who is this character when it's inside of you?
Yeah, nobody wants to see you cosplay Laurence Olivier.
Yeah, exactly.
That was his Hamlet.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. That's a good teacher.
It makes me think of when we talked to Taj, who played Jake, and we were getting into the Jake and Robbie storyline and how much we don't know about Jake's history, Robbie and Jake's history, and how he talked about during those emotional scenes, how he kind of dug in himself and drew on experiences and whatnot to allow that vulnerability to come through into his performance. So that's really cool.
Yeah. It's a muscle. You tap into your vulnerability muscle. And the more you do it, the easier it gets to just be open. So that's kind of what I like to work on. That's what I like to work on with my kids.
Now, is this your first semester? Or
no, I started teaching 2023, something like that. It's definitely my second or third year. And I also teach high school students through another community college. They're getting college credit.
How's that?
It's great. No, that's a joke. I mean, it actually really is great, but it's different. I'll put it that way. It's different. And I had to adapt a bit.
I would imagine the bureaucracy is the issue, if there is an issue, not so much the children.
Hands are off of me because I'm the college guy that comes in and leaves.
Oh, that's great.
Worked with 2 high school teachers who I both know, too. We were so random that we're all working together. But I do not envy what they have to go through as the high school, like the official high school instructors. Like there's some mountains and mountains of paperwork and all that stuff. I'm lucky. I'm just an adjunct professor. So I just come and teach my course and grade the kids and leave. But I love it. It is a separate passion I found. I really do enjoy teaching. My mom was a teacher too. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I bet she's really proud of you. I mean, genuinely, I mean, again, as somebody that just really, really loves the theater, it's people like you that keep that flame going, especially with what you guys have to do, like how hard you have to work just to keep your dream going. And those kids have to be prepared for that if that's the life that they want to move into. I think it would be very easy to find people who could try to force you into a corporate mold. I'm sure in Hollywood, there are a million people looking around to see if you have the right size or the right face or the right look. But to teach people to don't be looking for the way to fit to the perfect mold, to make the mold, to be the mold. You know, you keep that love and joy of the craft inside of you instead of getting hung up on all of the ways that Hollywood is going to tell you that you are not right over and over and over again. Yeah,
it's a recipe for making yourself small.
Yeah.
To fit the mold, for sure.
Yeah.
And which is antithetical, because that's really not what this industry wants. It's kind of like when industry meets art, it's kind of like what industry doesn't quite know what it wants, but profit. And art isn't about delivering something that anybody wants. It's about creating. Right. And so it's always it's a dance.
That was much more eloquently what I was trying to get at, is that it is an industry. I understand that, but that was part of what I find kind of gross about all of it is very quickly, if you are at all interested in it, you understand, you get into it because you're me or you or Becky the Shrew there, that you just love playing make-believe and you have a passion for that.
Yeah.
You immediately start getting told over and over and over again, you're not good enough. So those kids need a core inside of them. Right. And they need somebody, and we need good teachers who can help foster that in kids. And that's difficult. I admire that very much.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that. Me, you, and Becky the Shrew.
It's gonna be that'll be our theme song, Becky.
Yeah.
I'm going to see. We're going to be talking to Gavin Brivik here in a few weeks, who wrote all the music for the show, and I'm going to see if he'll write us a
every interview we do. There's something that comes up that we're like, man, that would be a great theme song. So that's the theme song for this interview. I think this was our last question. I know Becky, you want to get to wrap up, but just real quick, just while I got you, Brian, I also saw that your theater performed a Doll's House recently. Were you in it? And how was that? That outside of Shakespeare, that is my favorite play.
Oh, nice. Yes. Oh my God. Ibsen. Yeah, I was Torvald, and that was just a real, once again, douchebag.
Yeah. Massive. Other than Titania, Nora, and maybe even over that, Nora is the role that I always wish I had gotten to play.
Oh, nice. Yes, it was. And it was honestly, it was a production called Nora, which is a Doll's House, but it's Ingmar Bergman's specific adaptation of it. And he doesn't really change. It is the play. He like changes one setting at the end, and he takes all the kids out of it. They're there, but they're not there. But yeah, I got to do that.
That was kind of like the play, honestly. They were there, but they were really window dressing, which was kind of the point.
They're spoken about, but you never see them.
Yeah.
And I got the opportunity to play it, and it was fucking awesome is what it was. It was just a terrific time. I got to work with the director, Cameron Watson. Who is from Tennessee, by the way.
What?
I think. God, I hope that's true. No, that is true. He's from Tennessee. I don't remember exactly where. Marymount College?
Maryville. Maryville. It's in East Tennessee.
Okay, maybe that was what it is. Listen, don't quote me on any of that. I could be wrong, but he is from the South, and he knows some people that I know from Mississippi even, and we've worked together a few times. He's an incredible director, so open and sensitive and in tune to the thing, man, that we're all searching after as actors. So yeah, I got to play that, got to really kind of exercise some demons, some misogyny demons there, and I was really proud of that production.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're living my dream, really.
You are. You're the male Mandy.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry for that.
I'm the man D.
The man D.
Okay. Yeah. I'm about to get totally professional. Yeah. So lastly, is there, where can our listeners find you? Are there any causes, pages, or is there anything else that you would like to tell us about?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can find me. I think I'm on Instagram, Brian Tichnell. That's kind of where anything that I post about what's going on with me. I'm about town. If you're in, I teach it for Michael Askin Studio. I am in a new movie that you can rent. I have a really good, big, nice role in it with Lorraine Bracco and Leah Ramini. It's called The Mother, the Minister, and Me. It's a nice comedy, and I'm also really proud of that. That just became available, I believe, at the beginning of December. So it just came out. So yeah, check that out. It's a nice, fun indie comedy.
Where's it streaming?
You can rent it on Apple TV or Amazon Prime.
Okay, good. I have Prime.
Yeah. Mother, the Minister, and Me. It's great. It's a comedy about a guy who's making a horror movie, and I play his douchey. No, he's not. He's sweeter than that. He's just a little. He's brutish. I wouldn't say douchey.
Douche adjacent.
Yeah. And I play his brother-in-law. So you can do that. Instagram if you're interested in following me, seeing what I'm up to, and that's really about it.
All right, well, we will make sure to post a link to your Instagram, and then I will dig up the link to your movie.
Oh, thank you.
And if there's anything else that you think of that you want to share with us, let us know. And we really mean it, though. And I believe you're driven and talented, so I have no doubt that your show is going to get picked up somewhere. So whenever
you will be one of the first people to know. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, and come back and let's talk about it. So this has been a great time. We really, really appreciate you so much.
It was such a great time for me too, from both of you. Like, to sit down for an hour to talk about myself has just been great.
Yeah. Well,
anytime. I mean, we're not.
Thank you so much.
We're only kind of kidding when we say that everybody's our besties now. Like, we have made several real connections through people through the show, and we've told all of them that, anytime you've got something you want to talk about, it doesn't matter, Pitt, not Pitt, doesn't matter. Anything that you feel like you just want to hit us up and say, hey, can I come on and just chat about this? And we're happy to have you anytime.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, please. We don't have the biggest audience, but we do have a great following and some really, really loyal listeners. So let us know. It'd be great. You've been a lot of fun. And if you just want to be like, I want to come on and cover an episode of the Pit or whatever show we do in the future, you're always more than welcome.
Yeah, you're one of ours now.
Yep.
That wraps up our interview with the wonderful Brian Tichnell. Next up, we're going to continue our coverage of season 2 of The Pit.
So good.
So good.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. I'm Becky.
And I'm Mandy.
Hey, and I'm Brian.
We'll catch you next week when we grab the remote and see what's on tonight. Bye.
Bye.